father taught me as a boy that if a lie is repeated often enough, people will believe it. And that is definitely the case with today's topic, because CNN ran a 5-minute segment on Monday, I believe, in which they kept repeating the lie that America is a democracy and even was founded as a democracy. Now, anyone who has a basic understanding of the American Constitution as well as U.S. history could easily refute that lie. But first, I want to play the segment so you can listen to these absurdities, and then I want to discuss it, and I want to easily refute it and teach you how you can do it. Listen to this.
President Biden touts his re-election campaign as a fight to preserve democracy. But if you ask some Trump supporters, the former president is not a threat to democracy because the United States is not a democracy. CNN's Donnie O'Sullivan spoke to some of those supporters.
What happens if Trump loses?
I don't see him losing.
I don't think he lost the last election, to be honest.
Do you think he's going to win?
Yes. Without a doubt.
No doubt.
What if he doesn't this time? What happens to the country?
We're in trouble. We're in big trouble. We're done. If Biden talks about democracy, saving democracy, they're the ones that are killing democracy.
Obviously, there's a lot of criticisms of Trump that he is bad for democracy, that he's bad for American democracy.
Okay. We are a republic.
We're a republic.
We are
we're
not a democracy.
Representative republic. We're not a democracy.
One thing we've been hearing at Trump rallies like this over the past few months is that America isn't really a democracy.
America's not a democracy, it's a republic.
It's not a democracy. Okay, democracy is actually not as good as you think it is.
But for centuries, America has celebrated its democracy.
Democracy is worth dying for.
Democracy remains the definition of political legitimacy.
But some Republicans and pro-Trump media are pushing the idea that America is not a democracy.
The United States of America is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic.
The United States of America is not a democracy. You don't want to be in a democracy.
We are not a democracy. We are a republic.
Is America a democracy?
America is a democracy. It was founded as a democracy.
I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories. I hear a lot of things out on the road. But to hear Americans, people who would describe themselves as patriots, say that America is not a democracy, that stopped me in my tracks.
You are hearing people say America is not a democracy because there are people around Trump who want them to be saying that, who've been planting that narrative.
Is America a democracy?
Yes. No, I don't. I think
not right now, but we're a republic.
What's the difference?
I feel like democracy. Let me think this through. That it's government control. I don't see freedom in democracy. I see freedom in the republic.
Honestly, the word democracy and the word republic have often been used interchangeably. There isn't a meaningful difference between them.
So much of the warnings and criticism about Trump is that he is a threat to democracy, that he is anti-democratic.
Absolutely. If they can convince people that we don't have a democracy, then it's okay that Trump is attacking democracy because it doesn't really matter.
So why has democracy become a bad word?
Because it's being used in a way to change the flavor of our country, which is a republic.
These words were used in different ways in the 18th century, and it's true the founders didn't want direct democracy, by which they meant people gathering on the town square. They wanted representative democracy. But I think the reason why this conversation about language has risen now is because there is a part of the Republican Party that would like to rule as a minority, and they need an excuse for why that's okay. And so they have begun to say, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. And it's not 100% clear what that means, but I think they mean we want Donald Trump to be able to do whatever he wants.
Some people I've been speaking to at Trump events recently have been saying America is not a democracy, it's a republic.
We've always been a democracy, first of all. I mean, we used to have freedom of speech, freedom of religion. We used to have that, too. Now they're picking on the Christians and the Jewish people. I mean, how much more can we take?
Are you concerned if Trump loses?
Yeah.
That there will be another January 6th?
No, I think there will be a civil war. That's what I think will happen.
And Omar, look, there is, of course, a legitimate debate, discussion to be had on what form of democracy we have here in the United States. Direct democracy, representative democracy, in fact, constitutional republic, which you heard people mention in that piece. That is a form of democracy. But look, this is not actually a debate about government, about democracy. It's an attack on democracy. People have heard the warnings that Trump is a danger to democracy. And therefore you have people trying to convince others that, well, the United States isn't a democracy in the first place, and therefore Trump can't be a threat. Homer?
Donnie, appreciate the reporting, as always insightful. All right, she's already a major face.
By saying, I don't know who watches Communist News Network anymore. Excuse me, I mean CNN. But this lie that America is a democracy has so permeated American political discourse today and political discussion that I feel the need to address it. Because even many people who I would tend to agree with have misunderstood and believed the lie that we are in fact a democracy instead of a constitutional republic. And they believe the experts, like that dumb woman that CNN had on, that constitutional republic and democracy are interchangeable, that they are the same form of government, essentially. Nothing could be further from the truth. If you read the writings of the Founding Fathers, you would see that they hotly debated this topic because they understood their history. They debated whether we should be a democracy or a constitutional republic. They knew the philosophies of the Greeks, the Romans, the Israelites in the Bible. They understood the Bible and all the foundational documents that were important in government, in philosophy, and history previous to them. They understood common English law. They understood the difference between an oligarchy and a monarchy and a constitutional republic. They understood why America must be a constitutional republic. In fact, when Dr. Benjamin Franklin was asked by Elizabeth Wheeling Powell after the Constitutional Convention what form of government the American founders had given them, the American people, he said to her, "A republic, ma'am, if you can keep it." That, in and of itself, should have been quoted back to that interviewer from CNN. But I'm not saying that they did, but it would not surprise me if the people at CNN did not hire a bunch of people and put Trump hats on them and had them say ridiculous things to make us look stupid, to make any person who is conservative and believes in limited government to look stupid, because that's what they believe we are, whether you like Donald Trump or not. See, they use Donald Trump and conservative interchangeably. They want to make anyone who believes in limited government out to be an idiot. Don't believe me. See for yourself. They want us to look like idiots. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. That this is opposition and it's a psyop, really. These people want the average American voter, the average American citizen, to believe that people who believe in limited government and believe that Donald Trump was done wrong are morons. They want you to believe that constitutional republic is tyranny. Why? So they can reset it. And they want democracy because democracy can usher in socialism, which can eventually usher in communism. They're stepping stones, you see. In fact, let me read to you a few quotes. I want to read to you first a quote from my brother in Christ, Glenn Beck, who refuted this idea on Twitter, the platform now known as X, on Monday. This is what he had to say in response to CNN's segment. How does CNN explain the battle hymn of the Republic, or the line, and to the Republic for which it stands in our pledge? Democracy is only a part of the Republic. We have a one-man, one-vote democracy to elect representatives. They represent us to enact laws through the Constitution, which they all swear to protect and defend. Why does the left seem to only care about democracy? Yes, it is important, but without the rest of it, democracy becomes mob rule. He hit the nail on the head. Without representatives in our republic, which swear to uphold the Constitution and to enact laws through a constitutional process, democracy, which is what the founders were trying to prevent, becomes mob rule. We have elements of a democracy in our constitutional republic, but we are not a democracy. And people need to understand that. That's why we have the Electoral College when it comes to presidential elections, to prevent rural areas from being ruled by major cities or places where there are more people in the population. If stuff like the Electoral College was not put into place, New York, Los Angeles, any of the major cities would rule over rural Texas or rural North Carolina. You would have the will of the major cities in this country being forced down the throats of the average citizen, the farmers, the country people, the salt of the earth people. Representative republics give these people a voice. That's why we have an electoral college, to make sure things are fair. And the reason we elect our representatives directly is because they're supposed to directly represent us. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out, guys. And I want to read to you a few quotes from James Madison, the father of our Constitution and one of the most important founding fathers, about what he had to say about democracy and how it was evil. Mr. Madison said, and I quote, "Pure democracies have been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been found incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have in general been as short in their lives as they have violent in their deaths." That's from the Federalist Papers. Also from the Federalist Papers, and also from James Madison. We may define a republic to be a government which derives all its powers directly or indirectly from the great body of people and is administrated by persons holding their offices during pleasure for a limited period or during good behavior. That clearly shows you, my friends, the difference between a democracy and a republic. But just in case you need more clarification on the evils of democracy and the tyranny of democracy, let me read to you a quote from John Quincy Adams, the son of our second president and the sixth president of these United States himself. Mr. John Quincy Adams said, "The experience of all former ages had shown that of all human governments, democracy was the most unstable, fluctuating, and short-lived." There you have it, my friends. John Quincy Adams, the sixth president of our United States, hammered home what I'm telling you. They want you to believe that America is a democracy so they can continue to hammer in the American psyche and chip away at the foundations of our republic, even in our minds. And they want you to believe that we're a democracy so that they can vote in socialism. You know, this reminds me of what it says in the scriptures in Hosea 4:6. The Lord said, "And my people perish for their lack of knowledge." Could that not be more applicable right now? These things could be easily refuted, but you must learn your history. This is inexcusable for any citizen of our nation. We must know our history, because if we don't know where we came from, we sure as hell don't know where we're going. And is that not the problem? And I am tired of these experts lying to the American people. Read a book. Understand your history. These things could be easily remedied. You can't properly understand the power you have until you are properly educated in your head and in your mind. Fortify your mind and your heart with wisdom, knowledge, and peace brought to you by the Spirit. The key to knowledge is first understanding what we were meant to be and how we can get back to that. That is my goal in doing this. And it is time to stop believing the lies, my friend. That is the way we restore our republic, is to first preach the knowledge of our history, to re-educate the American people so they understand the power that they have, instead of believing this garbage from the mainstream media, who is by nature a propaganda machine. Help me fight the propaganda machine. Share this video, get the message out. Please like it and subscribe. It helps to grow the channel. It helps me to help you, because my goal is to wake up as many people as possible. Let's grow something and let's start a revolution. Here's to liberty.